Hello everyone, Mr. Fawcett here, and we are about to start part 2 of our lesson on the product rule. In part 1, we looked at the definition of the product rule, and then we applied the product rule to a couple different problems and looked at the differences between the product rule and the power rule. Today we're going to do more application problems for the product rule, but we're also going to do some different representations. So we're going to do some graphs and some tables in addition to the algebraic representation. So let's go down to problem 10. That's where we're going to start. Again, I encourage you to pause the video, work out problem 10, and then come back and see if your answer matches mine. Okay, so we're given the graphs of two functions below. We are told we're given f of x and g of x. Then we're told that p of x is equal to the product of those two functions, and r of x equals x squared times g of x. We're not going to use the r of x function for number 10, so we don't really have to worry about it. Number 10 says, if g prime of negative 4 equals 2, what is the value of p prime of negative 4? So we have to find the derivative of p, right? We know that p of x is equal to the product of f of x and g of x. Thus, we're going to use a product rule. So let's go ahead and find the derivative. So I'm going to try to squeeze this in here. Make this a tad smaller, actually. Give myself a little bit more space. Okay, there we go. So p prime of x is going to be equal to f prime of x times g of x plus f of x times g prime of x. That's just from the definition of the product rule. Now, we have four different things we need to find, right? We have f prime, we have g of x, we have f of x, and we have g prime of x. So if we're trying to find the derivative at negative 4, well, we have p prime of negative 4. We've got to evaluate all of these functions at negative 4. So there's one that they give us. They do tell us that g prime of negative 4 is equal to 2. So that's good. That's 1. That's all the way at the end here. Let's think about, let's first start with f of negative 4 and g of negative 4, because those are just finding the values of those functions. We're given the graph, so that shouldn't be too hard. F of negative 4, right, if we come over here and f of x, f of negative 4, we have a point right there. That is going to be at negative 4, negative 1. If we come over to g of negative 4, well, then we're up here, and that's going to be negative 4, comma 6. So we found the two y values for g of negative 4 and f of negative 4. Now we just need to find f prime of negative 4. So f prime is the derivative. We are given the graph here of f of x. So we're not given the equation, so we're not going to apply a power rule or product rule. How can we use the graph to figure out the derivative of f? Well, if we go and look at where f of negative 4 is, we notice that the graph is linear at that point. So we can just pick another point on that line, or that, it's not a line rather, it's a piece of the graph, more like a ray. And we can just find the slope between these 2 points. Right? If I find the slope of a linear function, that's equal to the derivative at any of the points. So I can come over here. I'm going to do this down here. My slope is just going to be equal to, well, I'll write that it's equal to f prime of negative 4. But that's just going to be my y2 minus y1 all over the quantity x2 minus x1. So let's first label this point right here. So negative 7, 2. And I'm also using the blue point down below. So I get negative 1 minus 2 all over negative 4 minus negative 7. This is going to give me negative 3 all over positive 3, which is equal to negative 1. So again, this is my f prime of negative 4. Now we just need to substitute in. So p prime of negative 4 is equal to negative 1. That's my f prime of negative 4. My g of negative 4 is equal to 6. My f of negative 4 is equal to negative 1. And my g prime of negative 4, that was given to me, which is nice, is equal to 2. Then I just simplify. That's going to give me negative 6 minus 2, which is equal to negative 8. So this right here, negative 8, is the value of p prime of negative 4. All right, we are now moving on to question 12. Scroll down there. So question 12 says, find the equation of the line tangent to the graph of p of x when x is equal to negative 4. So whenever I see the words write the equation or find the equation of the tangent line, I like to start off with my general equation of a tangent line. So y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. Now, you know you have to find three things, x1, y1, and m, but it's your choice as the order in which you do that. We actually already know what the slope is of p, so we already know what the derivative, which is the slope of the tangent line, is when x is equal to negative 4. We found that for number 10. We know that that's equal to negative 8. So I get y minus y1 equals negative 8 times the quantity x minus x1. Now we just need to find x1 and y1. I know what my x1 is, right? That's negative 4. Now to find my y1, that's going to be p of negative 4. Let's just rewrite p of x out here. So p of x is equal to f of x times g of x. Well, p of negative 4 is equal to f of negative 4. And if you go back and look up at the graph, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to scroll over with the work we already did. We see that f of negative 4 is negative 1, and g of negative 4 is equal to positive 6. So p of negative 4 is equal to negative 6. I hope I said it's equal to positive 6 up here, because it is. But when we multiply a negative 1, we will get negative 6. So this right here is our y1. So I get y minus negative 6, so y plus 6 is equal to negative 8 times the quantity x plus 4. And that is the equation of the tangent line the tangent line to p of x when x is equal to negative 4. All right, we're moving on to question 14. So let's clear this work. We're now going to see a table, I believe. Sure are. And it says estimate. So, well, it gives us the functions f of x and g of x. It also gives us the derivatives of f and g. 14 says estimate the value of f prime of 3.5. Whenever you see estimate the value of a derivative and you're given a table, you're going to go to 2 points that are on opposite sides of that x value. And right now we're talking about the original function. Right, this is like doing a secant line. So let's say I have a graph here. So if I wanted to estimate the derivative at 4, well, I could take 2 points on the opposite sides of 4. draw a secant line between them, and find the slope. Right? This is kind of what we did either up above or in our first video on this lesson. We used the slope formula to find the slope of the tangent line. In this case, we're finding the slope of the secant line, which is an estimate of the slope of the tangent line, or an estimate of the derivative. So f prime of 3.5 is approximately equal to, we're going to use a point on either side. So we're using this because that's right to the left of 3.5, and we're using this point because that is right to the right. So I get negative 2 minus 1 from my y2 minus y1. Remember, slope is equal to y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. X2 minus x1 would be 3 minus 4. So this gives me negative 3 over negative 1, which gives me an approximate slope of 3. So again, when you're asked to estimate the derivative, choose 2 points on the original function that are on opposite sides of that x value and use the slope formula. Okay, last question we're going to look at is 16, number 16. Again, hopefully you're pausing the video here and working it out on your own. This one we are going to probably need to see the graph for, or the table for, so I'll scroll up when necessary. We are told that p of x is equal to negative 2 times f of x times g of x. And then we're asked to find the value of p prime of 3. So we need to find the derivative of p. That could be our first step. Well, this is going to be a product rule. So let's do that a bit lower, I guess. So p prime of x is equal to, I can leave my constant out front and then just take the derivative of this product. So I can do negative 2, and then in parentheses I have f prime of x times g of x plus f of x times g prime of x. I need to find the value of p prime of 3. So I have 4 values to find here. I have f prime, g, f, and g prime. So let's scroll back up here. We're first going to look for f and g of 3. F and g of 3. So f of 3 is equal to negative 2. G of 3 is equal to negative 3. So negative 2 and negative 3. Now I need to find f prime of 3 and g prime of 3. So let's scroll back up here. Of course, you can just look at the other page. And again, these are just going to be these 2 values, negative 4 and 2 respectively. Negative 4 and 2. Now we just need to simplify. So I get p prime of 3 is equal to negative 2 times the quantity 12 minus 4. So p prime of 3 is equal to negative 2 times 8, which is equal to negative 16. Okay, that's going to do it for part 2. Again, I encourage you to attempt the other problems in this packet and then come to me if you have any questions. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next lesson.